I'm going to tell you something really strange. The Vikings are one of the reasons why the Crusades happened. Not weird? You're like, wait, why? So, work with me here on this one, because it's kind of strange. So the Vikings were Germans. They were the Germans who settled Scandinavia. Scandinavia was kind of like the worst piece of real estate in Europe at the time. Today, obviously, it's like heaven, but back then, it was the garbage piece that nobody wanted to go to. In other words, the people who became the Vikings, they never called themselves Viking. Viking is a term we've retroactively put on top of them, like the term Byzantine that Hieronymus Wolff came up with for the Roman Empire's last 1,000 years. 977 years for those of you who want it to be more precise. There's no such thing as a Byzantine Empire. The Vikings, I'm going to use the term Viking anyway though. The Vikings got stuck with this piece of real estate where you really couldn't grow a crop. So pretty much all you could do was raise cattle and go fishing. And at some point, their population had reached a threshold. They had sort of reached the carrying capacity of cheese rolls and dried fish. And when that happened, they had no choice but to start looking for alternatives. And they took two approaches, by the way. One approach the Vikings did was they set out to start trading. They thought, you know what, we can fix our problem if we can do trade because we'll have the money to buy the food that we need. And the Eastern Vikings, the Swedes, got so into this, they actually started trying to figure out where they could go to, and they started reading their sagas. This is the 8th century. They're not reading their sagas, they were oral histories. They were listening to their sagas. And the sagas told the Vikings that the place the Germans were from was Iran. By the way, Kerman Iran, which is where we get the word German, because G and K, when languages change over time, are interchangeable. So, Kerman, German. We say German because we pronounce it like a French person would. But a German says German, right? Like, so if you're saying the study of Germanic studies, it's Germanismus. Because they don't say it the way a French person would. So, the sagas tell the Vikings, you're originally from Persia, so the Swedes go, wow, that's an idea, let's go, let's see what we can find. And so what they would do is they would go to what is today Latvia, they would take their long ships up the Dvina River, they'd go as far inland as you could get, pretty close to the city of Rzhev. They would pull their ships out of the water, fully loaded, because they have to carry their supplies. They can't leave the supplies behind. So they would carry these fully loaded ships over land until they got to the Volga River. I mean, that's a pretty manly, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they've got their armor and their weapons and they're hauling these